Outside of obviously your El Clasicos, heated old firms and other derbies around the footballing world, a new rivalry with growing tension and hatred seems to be developing between Barcelona and Paris Saint Germain. This started a few years ago when Verratti tried to force a move to Barca, and was further elevated when PSG stole Neymar by triggering his release clause, just months after the controversial Champions League quarter-final between the two clubs. This summer, Neymar has made it clear he wants out of Paris, and a return to Barcelona would be his preferred move, even with the Parisian club reluctant to negotiate with the Catalan giants. And in amongst all of this Neymar drama, PSG, petty as ever, snapped up Barca wonderkid Xavi Simmons, who despite being just 16 years old, will make a ridiculous €1 million a year until 2022 with the French champions. So with that, in today's video we'll be taking a closer look at Xavi Simmons, attempt to determine whether or not he's all hype, and try to project what kind of future, if any, he has at PSG. So Xavi Simmons was born April 23rd, 2003 in Amsterdam, son of Regillio Simmons, who enjoyed a 10-year pro career in Dutch football through the early 90s to early 2000s. He spent the last 12 years in pro management, raising this child prodigy. The family first moved to Spain when Xavi joined CD Fadder, also playing for Villarreal, before being snapped up by the Spanish champs at aged 7. Since breaking into the famed La Masia setup late 2010, the young Simmons quickly made a positive impact, capturing a league title while showcasing his talent to both the Barca upper management and his growing online following. Xavi then moved up to the Benjamin A, where he'd win another league title with a 6-0 win the final game of the season. He'd dominate yet another league when moved up to the Alvin C side in 2016-17 as a part of the youth team that won all 25 games, scoring 114 goals and conceding just 14 on the year. This incredible run of form prompted huge amounts of hype locally and online, and before you knew it, comparisons were being thrown out left, right and centre, some labelling Xavi the next Xavi, while others dared to mention his name in the same breath as Lionel Messi. Being Dutch, having represented his country at under 15 and under 16 level while playing for Barca, Simmons seemed destined to follow in the footsteps of a long line of Dutch greats to wear the Blaugrana stripes. While this in large part is due to the friendly connections between Ajax and Barcelona through Johan Cruyff, it may also have something to do with the Catalan and Dutch clubs putting huge emphasis on their youth programs. Barcelona's La Masia Academy is widely considered the greatest in the world, boasting some of the game's greatest ever players from the tika Barcelona era. Holland is also one of the best places for youth development. Look no further than Ajax side of last season. The camp now has featured some of the greatest Dutch players to ever do it. So it seems as though Barcelona is a perfect style and environment for a Dutch youngster like Simmons to flourish. So why is it Xavi Simmons, one of the biggest names in all of La Masia, departed from the Catalans to join a much less established youth setup and face inferior competition in France? Strangely enough, it seems as if Xavi Simmons himself was the one seeking a move after recently enlisting the services of super agent Mino Raiola, whose clients include Paul Pogba, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Matthijs de Ligt. It's believed Simmons and his inner circle turned to Raiola in hopes of finding a new club. But when you consider that Xavi Simmons' deal with PSG will see him earn €3 million over the next 3 years, it makes you wonder whether or not he's actually the star the media have made him out to be. Because this deal suggests that Simmons is cashing in while his stock and hype is at its highest, making millions while he can because he probably isn't as good as he's perceived to be. According to Barcelona, the goals for La Masia are unchanged by this transfer, and Simmons wasn't in fact a key feature in their plans. Coaches even went on to claim he was only a starting player due to injury, and that fellow youngsters have more potential. While this is only speculation and could just be a bitter response to the move from Barcelona coaches, it does arise an interesting question as to whether or not these prodigies we see short highlight clips of are actually going to be great players, or if they're simply used to market a team's youth program. For Xavi Simmons, not only is he easy to sell to fans because he shares a name with one of Barca's greatest players, his Valderrama-like hairstyle makes him easily marketable as he stands out from the other players on the pitch. And yeah, while he does look like a good player and all, it's not like many of his highlights that I'm showing you guys actually equate to goals. So for all we know and have seen so far, he could just be another player in La Masia who's gone viral because he's called Xavi and has a hairstyle like Carlos Puyol. He's already amassed almost 2 million Instagram followers, and has a social media team designated to run his account. If Simmons is indeed mostly hype and not quite as good as made out to be, then perhaps the move to PSG will prove to be a smart one, as on top of making millions in salary, he'll have an easier time breaking into the PSG team and starring against the weaker French competition. Unfortunately, there is no real way to know just yet how good Simmons is or will be, so it remains to be seen whether Simmons has the ability to prove Barcelona wrong and become a great player in Paris. So far, the last two high profile names to depart from Barcelona and join PSG are Neymar and Dani Alves. Both players appear to have regrets about their decisions, and have both at some point publicly expressed their desire to return. Whether or not Xavi Simmons is the next to do so remains to be seen, and will be interesting to follow over the next few years. We've already made one of these videos for Karamoko Dembele already, so let me know down below in the comments what young player you want to see me cover next.